1830s, about 200 years after the first European settlers arrived in Maryland, Prince George's County was changed dramatically by the construction of the first railroad in the United States. The Baltimore and Ohio was first built between Ellicott City and Baltimore, followed shortly by the link to Washington. This Washington line was chartered in 1833 to parallel the Washington and Baltimore Turnpike. The first train ran on August 25, 1835. The railroad changed patterns of travel, commerce, and daily life for the region. Multiple passenger trains ran daily, serving commuters and bringing into existence entire communities. By the late 1800s, the train was the predominant mode of travel. Perhaps no site has a better connection to the legacy of the railroads in the region than the Laurel Railroad Station and the Bowie Railroad Museum. The Laurel Railroad Station was designed by E. Francis Baldwin, architect for the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. With creative decorations at the gable ends, the station is considered American Queen Anne in style. Stations like Laurel's are rare and fewer in such unaltered condition. The Laurel Railroad Station has been adapted for use as the Laurel Mark Station, still serving the public as the local center of rail transportation for Laurel. The communities of Hyattsville, Berwyn, Brentwood, Beltsville, College Park all owe their existence to the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. Today there are stops in Muirkirk, Greenbelt, and Riverdale Park Town Center, as well as Laurel. This line is used by MARC and CSX. Equally as important was the competition to the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad, what was originally called the Baltimore and Potomac and later the Pennsylvania Railroad, which brought about the city of Bowie. After many delays, construction began in 1868. Due to a unique clause in the Baltimore and Ohio's charter, the Pennsylvania Railroad had to use a loophole to build into Washington, using a branch at Bowie Station, which is now Old Bowie. Communities of Glendale and Lanham owe their existence to this line. Today the line is used by Amtrak for its Northeast Corridor, as well as MARC. Additionally, the first telegraph lines were strung between Washington and Baltimore along the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. With Samuel Morse overseeing the lines, Ezra Cornell led the installation of the poles. Morse worked from a site on the Riversdale House property, and the first initial tests were held in Bladensburg and Beltsville. Then on May 24, 1844, Morse sent the first message to Baltimore, "What hath God wrought?" This telegraph system would eventually lead to the development of the modern wired telephone systems. Additionally, Laurel was the site of the first radio broadcast from a railroad car in 1932. Broadcasting from a dining car, a 12-piece orchestra performed. A temporary control room and shortwave transmitter was set up in Laurel, retransmitted at Beltsville, and sent the signal to New York City. Our region has been a crossroads of transportation routes and has seen the earliest mail coach routes, airmail, and NASA satellites. From early transportation routes by railroad to the changing face of communications, our region has always been linking the nation. The Laurel and Bowie railroad stations are places we can touch that history, making them Maryland milestones.